What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Derek here with Tap and Turn Gaming, coming at you today with something a little different. As we are about to drop the newest set, Shadows over Innistrad, we decided we would take a look at what EDH really means the most, and that is having a cool general. So we're just going to take some time to look over the 5 new generals that are coming out with Shadows, and look at each one individually and their pros and possible cons. So first off, let's start with Davison. Now we have Archangel Davison, who is a flip card who changes into Davison the Purifier. So her main form is Archangel Davison. She's a 5-cost 4/4 legendary angel with flash, flying, and vigilance. So she already has a really nice set of abilities with her. But when Archangel Davison enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. So that's really nice. 5-cost indestructible to stop a wrath or stop any kind of destruction sweeper. And when a non-angel creature you control dies, transform Archangel Davison at the beginning of the next upkeep. So basically what happens is you're going to flash her in, and you probably want her to flip, so you're going to flash her and give all you guys indestructible. Then you're going to go ahead and maybe sacrifice one of your creatures, and at the beginning of the next upkeep, which will be on your opponent's turn, she's going to transform. She's going to transform into Davison the Purifier, who is now a 6/5 with flying, so she loses the vigilance. But when this creature transforms into Davison the Purifier, it deals 3 damage to each other creature and each opponent. So it's also going to hurt all your guys, which is her slight downfall. But the fact that you now have a 6/5 flyer that dealt 3 damage to all your opponent's creatures and to your opponent, there's a good chance you wiped out quite a few of their creatures. So that's pretty cool. There is a lot of questions about her, and that is where this is EDH. If she is a red general, she's a white general, blah blah blah. For the sake of the card and the building, she counts as a red-white general. What they do with the flip cards and a lot of newer cards now is you see this little symbol right here, and that is what color this particular face is. So while she does not have any red mana symbols, this side of her card counts as a red card. So for all intents and purposes, she is a red-white general. I like her. I could see her being used in a lot of things. I mean, a general that has flash is really cool because you can flash her from a command zone. So I personally think she's better in the 99 than leading a deck because you can use her, just to save all your stuff. Her real merit, though, is if she is your general, that you can always have access to that flash indestructible, which is very, very nice. Turn 4, 5, 6, 7. You can just sit on that 5 mana, and if someone tries to sweep with a Wrath of God or a Damnation or anything of those sorts, you can go ahead and flash her in and bring her in. And that's pretty cool. I like her. I like how she has 2 very, very opposite abilities for her light and dark sides, more or less. So that's really pretty cool. Not much really more to say about her, so we're going to take a look at our next general, which is Olivia Mobilized for War. So what's cool about Olivia is that she is a 3-cost black-red for a 3/3 vampire knight. She has flying, so that's always nice to have a 3/3 flying body. She is able to be a tiny leader. Being a tiny leader at a 3-cost 3/3 flyer is pretty powerful to do that 25 damage. But her ability here is whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may discard a card. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. It gains haste until end of turn, and it becomes a vampire in addition to its other types. I don't really love her ability unless you're playing a heavy Madness and Reanimator theme. For me, I don't really love it. I'm sure someone's going to tell me how wrong I am and how broken she is. I think she'll be good in like a standard or modern format where you can really build around her and have multiple copies of things. But in EDH, where you have a single copy of your card, you don't really necessarily want to be tossing it unless you know you're going to get it back. So I kind of find her underwhelming, especially where her ability doesn't make her any stronger. It makes your other creatures stronger. So she still stays as a 3/3. Her art's a little cooler than her previous art, I think. I like her little sword, even though it's probably not that good of a sword to have a hollow center. But, that's semantics. But yeah, I would say I don't really love her, per se. I personally wouldn't put her in the general slot or the 99 slot. I think there's far superior black-red generals. So we'll take a look at the next general. Up next we have Sagada Heron's Grace. She's a 5-cost 4/5 green-white angel so you get the option of green and white. She has flying, and you and humans you control have hexproof. And you can pay 2 exile cards from your graveyard to put a 1/1 white human soldier creature token onto the battlefield. I don't like this ability very much because you're exiling cards from your graveyard. I would like it a lot more if it was pay 2 to exile a card from your opponent's graveyard to put a 1/1 human soldier onto the battlefield. But where it's coming from your graveyard, you're really just taking away possible more supplies from yourself. And I don't know, I just don't really like that. I like that she gives you hexproof. I think the humans you control have hexproof is only really valid if you're playing like a human tribal. Otherwise, you're going to get like a one-off here and there human that has shroud. Hexproof, rather. So again, she's another one that I would say would be really, really strong in the slot of the 99 versus the general. I think there's better options for the green-white general slot. Even just her original version, which you can see is right here, which was a 6-cost 5/5, so it has a little more power. It had flying and hexproof itself, so that was good. And spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause you to sacrifice permanents. So her original form, I feel, was a lot stronger for what it did. So if you have them both on the field, she has hexproof, you have hexproof, humans you control have hexproof, and you have 9 flying power. So I think she serves a better purpose, like I said, in the 99 rather than the general slot. Next general we have is the Grog Monster. He's a 5-cost 6/6 with Death Touch Frog Horror, who is green-black. He's in amazing colors. Green-black is a really good color combination. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice the Grog Monster unless you sacrifice a land, and you may play an additional land on each of your turns. Whenever one or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, draw a card. This guy is really, really powerful. I mean, if any of you have ever seen an Omnath Locus of Rage deck or a Titanium Protector of Argot deck, any kind of deck around the idea of lands dying is pretty powerful, and you can play him in a company with Crucible of Worlds, so when you sacrifice that land, you can go ahead and play it on your turn, and then play another land for the turn, and his drawback is basically nullified, and you're drawing an extra 2 cards per turn. Plus he's a 6/6 with Death Touch, so he has the same body as Grave Titan for 1 less mana. So he's really, really pretty cool. I like him a lot. I like that there's a humongous frog, and you can tell his size by the fact that there's a human or vampire arm hanging out of him. So he really is a pretty big frog. He's just, I really like him. I really think he's pretty cool. The additional land every turn is very nice, so you can keep ahead of the sacrificing of lands. It's just, he's got a lot of good stuff going on. I think he'd be really, really good. They even show Titania down here as a card that may work with him. Or similar cards, rather. But I think he's really powerful. I think he's really good. I just really like him a lot, honestly. I think he brings a lot to the table. And he would be able to have a pretty cool deck built around him, especially at that 5-cost 6/6 body. You're going to be playing green, so you have all your ramp. You have black for all your tutors and sweepers. And this guy can 4-shot someone, It's really, really nice, and I like that a lot. I give him a thumbs up. As in the 99 or as the general slot, I like him a lot. And then the last general we have for this set is Audric Lunarch Marshal. Apparently he got a promotion from a tactician to a marshal, so that's pretty cool, from the previous Innistrad set. But he was in the core set, he wasn't in Innistrad, even though he had the symbol of Davison on his sword, even in the original art. Oh, there he is right there. Master Tactician. He was from N15, which is pretty cool that they, carrying over the sets, regardless. He is a 4-cost 3/3 human soldier. Mono white, so that gives you your colors. At the beginning of each combat, creatures you control gain first strike until end of turn. If a creature you control has first strike, the same is true for flying, death touch, double strike, haste, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, reach, skulk, trample, and vigilance. So he is the card concerted effort on a body. That's more or less what he does. I like him a lot. I think he is really, really pretty cool in the 99 over being a general. He would make a pretty potent general if you just cram him in with this. There's a lot of soldiers that have vigilance. There's a lot of soldiers, although I don't know that they did make vigilance. There's a lot of soldiers that have flying and first strike and double strike, so you can just pack him in with a bunch of different guys that do a bunch of different things, and that would be really, really cool. I happen to like him, I think, more in a red-white build where you're playing with a lot of combat steps, because what is really important about him to note, it's not at the beginning of your turn. It's at the beginning of each combat. Creatures you control gain first strike, blah, blah, blah. So what makes him very powerful is if you take multiple combat phases. So you take your first combat phase, and you're like, oh, I'll gain first strike. And you don't even have to attack. You go to combat, give all your guys first strike because you have a first striker on the board. And then you go to your second combat, and you give all your guys death touch. Now you do attack. So, now you're attacking with first strike death touchers, which are going to wipe out the entire enemy board. And that's very, very cool. What's more powerful about him that a lot of people are going to overlook, and I see it happening, people are going to overlook this, says at the beginning of each combat. It doesn't say at the beginning of each of your combats. So your opponent goes to combat, you can pick something from what your creatures have. So you have an indestructible, all your guys became indestructible. Then it's on your turn when you go to combat, you can pick one of the abilities from one of whatever your guys has. So it's important to build him with a deck with just a ton of guys. Just a deck that has a ton of guys. And once you do that, I really think people are gonna miss out on the fact that he has the each combat thing, and they're gonna play him not incorrectly, but play him poorly, I believe. But he is the last general. As a side note, I do think he's probably better in the 99 than on the board. As your general, just because you really need multiple colors to make him a lot better, because that'll give you access to so many of these abilities. Though through mono white you can get pretty much all of these. It's very possible. You play him mono white and you drop a Wormcoil Engine. Now you have the Link and Death Touch, but where he's really going to shine is from multiple combat steps. So I could see him really in a red white Boros style build with maybe something like Gisela as the leader, and so all you guys get flying anyways. But I like him a lot. I think he's pretty cool. Like I said, better in the 99, in my opinion, than as a general. But that's just my opinion, and no one has to listen to me. But, that is our last general for the set. So far, I like Shadows over Innistrad. I think it's pretty cool. It brings a lot of flavor to the table. To review our generals, we had Flip Avison, who is red-white. Honestly, I would even play, as a real side note, just looking at it, you have Audric, who's white. I would play him in the Archangel Davison deck, because you're going to go to combat, you're going to get flying and vigilance for all you guys, and that's really pretty good too. You'll get flying or vigilance, rather, not both, but because you're playing Archangel Davison, you have access to red, so you have access to all those double combat strikes. So you could go ahead and declare attacks, give them flying, pass on that attack, go to your second combat phase, and go ahead and give them all vigilance and then attack right after. That's pretty cool. And this is also the third iteration of Avison, which is pretty cool. There's not many generals or legends, for that matter, who have this many forms. So that's pretty cool. It's nice to see someone getting so many forms. I like that a lot. But this has been Derek with Tap and Turn Gaming. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about the different generals and who you'd like to play, who you want to see. Who you would like to see decks built around, who you think would be good, bad, ugly, all that. Like I said, my favorite from the set so far is probably the Grog Monster. Even though I wouldn't build a deck, not that I wouldn't, I'm not going to build a deck around him, because I have 30 plus EDH decks, and I don't need another one at the moment. And he doesn't speak to me that much. I just think he's really powerful and could be. But my favorite is probably Audric for a couple of my decks. But this has been Derek with Tap and Turn Gaming. Let me know what you think about this video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and we will catch you later. Thanks a lot, and goodbye.